Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And a number of people have awared me that a guy by the name of Jay Masters, who is apparently associated with the Delray Misfits and Jason Genova, tore both of his quads. And I'm going to flip in the video here of that happening. While attempting to squat 600 pounds. Damn, bro. So let me go ahead and put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Now, what I want to say up front about Jay, I had no clue who this guy was until yesterday. I had to do a little bit of research. People were nice enough to link me a few different videos, including his drug stack this year, a little bit of his history, and I went and found some of his different squat footage to see what he's doing because he doesn't know how to squat. And all I can say is, man, I wish this guy a speedy recovery. I wish him a speedy recovery, but this was also a train wreck waiting to happen. When you look at, first of all, you have a guy who doesn't squat to depth. All right, you already don't squat to depth. What do we know about connective tissue health and tears and everything else? People who do partials on big exercises, when they miss a rep, they're more likely to tear connective tissue, right? They're far more likely to. Look at Junkie Ward's a perfect example. Tried to bench 315, couldn't even touch his chest, tore both of his teddies, right? Tore both of them. Again, while abusing anabolics as a master's athlete. All right, this is something I stress to all of you out there all the time. When you are a more advanced lifter, and by advanced in this case, I mean master's lifters, more mature lifters, over about the age of 35, we have to pay attention to our connective tissue health. That includes doing long range of motion on our big exercises, right? Training below parallel on the squat, training a lot of pause bench, doing our deficit deadlifts, doing all these various exercises that work the joints to a full range of motion. It's important for us to do things like stabilize joints, and I'm going to get to the gear use in a minute. There's some problems here, especially at his age and his adiposity. His drug choices were horrifically bad, and I think they contributed. So, where do we go first? First of all, he's not squatting to depth. He didn't squat to depth even with that 600. And that's the deepest squat I've ever seen him do. That's the deepest squat I could actually find of this guy doing anywhere on camera. And I could be wrong. Maybe you guys have some other footage, but everything else was half squats. See this guy doing a lot of half squats, especially on his rep work. Right, that's a problem. And I know the guy's a legitimately strong bencher. The guy is legit strong on bench pressing, right? But again, a morbidly obese guy who abuses large amounts of anabolics, you're going to expect him to be good at pressing. You're going to expect that to be the case usually, right? That's not unusual. But we come over to all of this. Half squats, doing a lot of half squats. Partials. So again, lack of posterior chain strength combined with shortened range of motion, not putting the knee joint through the proper range of motion all the time. That's going to already cause issues with connective tissue already in the knee. Right? He does not have the posterior chain strength to squat 600 pounds. The video where he gave his drug stack, I watched him deadlift, and I mean, he pulled like, what, 585 with straps? But it was heavy for him. That was really hard. He had to work on that. All right, 585 deadlift with straps. That's a decently strong posterior chain. But is that a strong enough posterior chain to low bar squat 600 pounds? So we have a hamstring deficiency. We have a glute deficiency, which means he has to be a quad dominant squatter as a low bar squatter. He has to be because he doesn't have the posterior chain to support this. Now he does all these half squats, so again, what does that do? That doesn't work the lower quads as much. Also doesn't strengthen the connective tissue down where the quads insert as much. So what happens? The guy comes down, The very first time he tries to do this 600, doesn't hit depth, starts to come back up, tears both quads. He probably overstretched his connective tissue with that weight that wasn't able to handle, and they already started snapping, and on the way back up, he finished them. The tear started on the eccentric. The tear started when he got to the bottom of that eccentric. Snapped it on the way back up. So his training, muscle imbalances, right? He doesn't have the posterior chain strength, so he doesn't have the knee stability and everything else that we need from hamstring development to support the sort of squatting he's doing. Trains with tons of half reps, so we're already going to have a lower quad weakness. So we've already subjected ourselves to problems. We'll go look at his drug stack. And again, this is someone who people are like, well, he was an alcoholic and he's turned his life around and trying to be healthy. A guy who's trying to be healthy does not do the cocktail of drugs that he listed. All right, they don't do that. That is, again, a heart attack waiting to happen. This is a guy who has large amounts of central adiposity, right? Extremely large amounts of visceral fat around his organs, which is a big deal because you guys saw mine on my DEXA scans. I actually have very, very low visceral fat, even relative to my subcutaneous fat, because I do eat a clean diet. Irrespective of what people think, I've been active and I always eat a clean diet even when I bulked up over 20% body fat. I don't eat junk food. I don't eat crap. I don't abuse alcohol. I don't abuse anabolics. So I always have a low visceral fat. This guy very clearly has very large amounts of abdominal fat, very large amounts of visceral fat, possibly fatty liver from, again, being an excessive drinker. Now, we already have a problem with using Tren, right? He was using what? 100 milligrams of test prop, Tren, and Masteron propionate, I believe, 3 times a week. All right, that's 300 milligrams each. That's 900 milligrams, including 300 milligrams of Tren every week. All right, when you're someone who is predisposed to a heart attack, you realize right there already your HDL is going to crash. Possibly triglycerides are going to go up. You have someone like that who already has some signs of fatty liver, has very large amounts of visceral fat, probably has high blood pressure. All right, this is a health crisis waiting to happen. On top of it, what does he do? Throws in an AI. Again, AIs, notorious for weakening connective tissue. Notorious for weakening connective tissue. Notorious for it. In addition to dropping your HDL cholesterol even lower, subjecting you to potential heart attack. All right, there's part of our problem. Again, guys like Jerry always tearing stuff. It's abuse of aromatase inhibitors. Big factor in muscle tears in my experience. 100 milligrams of oral Winnie every day. He was throwing in oral Winnie. What are some of the problems with oral Winstrol? Elevated liver enzymes. You have a guy already probably has fatty liver. Right? Elevated liver enzymes, it crashes your HDL cholesterol. Again, reduces protection from heart attack. Also, what is Winnie notorious for? Weakening cross bridges in connective tissue. Weakening cross bridges in connective tissue. He's using abuse amounts of Winstrol. 100 a day. We're up to 1,600 milligrams of gear plus Prami plus AIs. It's just listed right there. 100 milligrams of an anabolic that he is an alcoholic, former alcoholic, with probably fatty liver, with large amounts of central adiposity. That is not a substance he needs to be taking at those doses. Again, health risk waiting to happen. But it also has data showing it weakens cross bridges in connective tissue. All right, you're going to use something like Winnie as a strength athlete. You need to be careful. You need to be paying very, very close attention to your connective tissue health. Very close attention, and you need to be training your connective tissue. So this is a guy who trains in a way that's already going to subject him to connective tissue risk. 50 years old, abusing an anabolic that is known, really abusing 2 substances that are known for weakening cross bridges and weakening connective tissue, and then tries to squat a weight that he is not physically capable of squatting to depth. And he tears both quads. I hate to be a dick about it, and I don't want to be a dick about it, and I wish him all the best, and I wish him a speedy recovery, but I hope this is a wake-up call for this guy. Because this was just a tragedy waiting to happen. This is a ticking time bomb. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but you look at the whole host of compounding factors. The guy really and truly has no clue what he's doing with his leg training and lower body training and squat training. That was very obvious. All very clearly in poor health, abusing copious amounts of anabolics that also contribute to his injury. The injury waiting to happen, unfortunately, and it did happen. And totally preventable. Totally preventable. And again, I have people say, well, he's trying to really turn his life around and be healthy. I'm talking 100 milligrams of Winstrol a day. 100 milligrams of Winnie a day while being morbidly obese instead of working on your diet. I don't think that's trying to be healthy at all. I don't think that's trying to be healthy at all. Maybe he'll come off the Winstrol and other stuff now before he dies, before it kills him with the other obvious health issues that he has. Because it was only going to make him worse. Maybe this is a wake-up call and he'll come off some of this stuff. Because at his age and his body fat and his health issues, visible health issues, that's a horrific combination. Furthermore, again, some of these cutting stacks, if you guys are going to be strength athletes and you're going to use gear, you need to think through what some of these cutting stacks that you see bodybuilders get hurt on all the time. You need to think about what some of that does to your connective tissue when you're going to go lift heavy weights. It's something to factor in. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.